Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Final segment of the show brought to you by our good friends at Coffee AM. All right, I want to dive right into this because I think this is fascinating. Apparently, there are only 15 teams that can win a national championship this year. Now, that may not be something that is shocking to you, and necessarily who the 15 teams are doesn't really matter. But what backs this up is a statistical fact that there are only 50 teams that can actually win a national title. And it's called the blue chip ratio. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but I thought this was fantastic. I mean, Bud Elliott of 24/7 Sports wrote this, and it's just, to me, it's incredible. And basically what the blue chip ratio is, okay, it states that college football teams need to sign more 4- and 5-star recruits, aka blue chips, than 2- and 3-star players over the previous 4 recruiting classes. And they say that's basically true as far back as the modern internet recruiting ratings have existed. Now, doing this doesn't guarantee a national title, but a team not meeting it is almost certainly guaranteed not to win at all, right? When you look at recruiting rankings, and while they're not perfect, they are pretty good. You look, for example, at a team like Cincinnati last year who made the college football playoff. They did not meet the requirement for the blue chip rankings to win the national title, which is why they got destroyed and overmatched by Alabama. Now, what did the blue chip rankings, what are they made up of? Well, a couple of things, okay? High school JUCO scholarship signees count. Walk-ons are not signees, so they don't count, and neither do portal transfers, okay? So, because they go under different rules. So, that's really what they're looking at. Just for some background, okay? Look at the previous national championship winners. In 2021, Georgia had an 80% blue chip ranking and won it all, beating the number 1 blue chip ranking team in Alabama. 3 of the 4 playoff teams were blue chip BCR, blue chip rating, blue chip ranking teams. And Cincinnati was the first crasher since 2017. Alabama had an 83% BCR in 2020. All 4 playoff teams were BCR schools. 2019, LSU had a 64% BCR. All 4 teams were BCR schools. Clemson in 2018, 61% mark. Again, all 4 schools meet the criteria. Alabama won it in 2017 with an 80% mark. Clemson took it home in 2016, 52% blue chips. In 2015, Alabama had a 77% mark. Ohio State, the previous year, 68. Florida State in 2013, 53. 2012, Alabama, 71%, just as they were in 2011. Okay, so you get there. Now, let me give you the blue chip schools here. And I will start with the highest and go to the lowest. At 89%, Alabama. 80%, Ohio State. 77%, Georgia. 71%, OU. 70%, Texas A&M. Very interesting. Texas at 68%. LSU at 66%. Clemson at 63%. Notre Dame, 62%. Florida at 60%. 10th highest. Oregon at 60%. Michigan, 59%. Penn State, 55%. Miami, 55%. And Auburn, 54%. So those are your top 15 schools in the blue chip ratio, blue chip rankings that have signed up more 4- and 5-star recruits than 3- and 2-star recruits. I think this is interesting from 2 standpoints. One, if I would have told you only these 15 teams could win it based off of arbitrary measures this year, you would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. Okay, those are the schools that I would think. But I would also tell you that this is sort of significant because of the chances to make the college football playoff when you look at it and break it down by current conference. 2 ACC teams there, Clemson and Miami. That's it. Notre Dame is an independent, is there. You only have 1 Pac-12 team out there in Oregon. And you have a whole bunch of SEC teams. You have 2 current Big 12 teams in Oklahoma and Texas. And then you have 1 Big 10 team or 2 Big 10 teams in Penn State and in Ohio State. I would tell you from a gambling standpoint, when I look at the futures market, I would use this as a decent barometer. But that said, again, when you look at all 4 teams in the college football playoff having a high blue chip ratio, well, that's because on this list of the 15 teams there, what is it? 6, 7 of them are are SEC teams. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think this also speaks to one other thing that is sort of an anti-college football playoff expansion rule. I'll tell you that in a second. First, a word from my friends at Coffee AM. Coffee AM, an Atlanta-based small batch coffee roaster, and they have some of the best, most delicious tasting coffees in the world. I tell you guys, when this package arrived at my front door and I opened it, the smell, it just hit me in the face, and it was awesome. This is the freshest coffee you can get. Most of the coffees are roasted and shipped the same day or close to it. And they only roast current crop specialty grade coffee. Huge selection from around the world. I had a coffee from Kenya, tried the coffee from Sumatra. It's all organic, fair trade, direct trade, and expertly crafted blends, espressos, flavored coffees, gourmet teas, and a whole lot more. And remember, they're roasted right here locally in your backyard in Georgia. Go to coffeeam.com/lockedon today and take a look at their full menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets. That's coffeeam.com/lockedon. Use the coupon code LOCKEDON at checkout and get 15% off your first order of coffees, teas, and gift sets. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America, right here in Georgia. Let me ask you a question. I mentioned this a moment ago about the idea of winning a national title in college football playoff expansion. What's the reason to put in a non-Power 5 school when they literally have no match for their opponent from a talent standpoint? As you said, Cincinnati got rolled by Alabama. They just cannot compete. There is a talent discrepancy or talent gap that certain schools just can't make up. So if you're going to expand to the college football playoff, you're only expanding it so you could put more Power 5 teams in that meet this criteria, not expanding it because you think UCF or Cincinnati or Houston or BYU or anybody else in reality could compete for a national title. Because as this blue chip ratio says, this doesn't guarantee you're going to win the national title, but if you're not in these top 15, you're basically eliminated from winning a national title at this point. Just is what it is. Even if you're fortunate enough to get to the college football playoff, guess what? You're getting beat. You're getting beat bad. Because the talent gap is so huge. Because Cincinnati, there's not a single left tackle at Cincinnati who had to block a defensive player like anybody on the Alabama defensive line. And vice versa. Anybody on the Cincinnati defensive line never went up against an Evan Neal. Period. They're just night and day. So I thought this stuff was really, really interesting. And kudos again to, let me get the author one. I forget it, to Bud Elliott for putting this together. I thought this was really, really good stuff. And I think that it speaks volumes to, which schools actually can win the national title. And go to your proper futures market based off of this list. That'll do it for us today. Back tomorrow, wrap things up on a Friday. Appreciate you guys joining me here on A to Z. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't take any crap from anybody. See ya.